obviously a lot more enjoyable end of the weekend this week, and positive start to game week for SMU. Able to take a good look at the film from last Saturday, make some corrections, see some things that we did very well. Went out and had a short practice Sunday afternoon. Spent the remainder of Sunday and all day yesterday and this morning, obviously, breaking down SMU. Quality football team. They've had a little bit extra time to get ready for us. Should be fresh and come into the game 7-2, obviously, with one of the top offenses in the country. So, going to be a great challenge this weekend. But very, very excited about, the opportunity, the matchup, and excited to be at home. So the kids will be very motivated this week. They're very excited for the challenge, and they're just very excited for, the chance to really finish the season strong. So I expect us to get great effort throughout the week and a great performance on Saturday.
Okay, we'll open it up to questions.
Coach, will there be anything going on Saturday as far as a senior day recognition?
There will, and much like the entire 2020, things are just different this year. And I think back to my last game as a college player and senior day, and being able to walk out with my parents, and still got the photo of mom and dad on either side of me, and being recognized in front of a full home stadium. That is not our reality this year. And that's, I really feel for, those student athletes participating in our senior day this week, from a standpoint of, they're not going to have that opportunity to have the parents down there with them. They're not going to have the opportunity to be recognized in front of a packed Dowdy Ficklen Stadium. It is going to be, just like everything else with 2020, it's going to be, significantly impacted. We'll have a small group that we'll be recognizing on Saturday, and it's a group that has, contributed greatly to the program in their time here, and will leave here as graduates of East Carolina University, and prepared to make, positive impact on, our society. And, I look forward to honoring them, but I just do feel for them in that it's not going to be, the traditional senior day recognition that we all, recognize.
Coach, you come into this ball game, Cincinnati is ranked 17th in passing nationally, 14th in overall yards, but amongst the 7-2 record overall, their two losses to Cincinnati and Tulsa are very similar to the two losses that you've had to those same ball clubs. You've got to feel pretty good about your chances for this to be a competitive ball game this week if you guys play like you're capable of doing.
Well, I think that SMU is, a very solid program. Senior quarterback who, is one of the best ones in our conference. Really, really talented skill positions. Defensively, I think that they are an improved unit from last year. I think they're playing better together. And, looking at them, a very complete group on special teams. So, I think that they are, exactly what the record says they are. They're a 7-2 team. It's one of the better teams in our league. And, it's going to be a great challenge this weekend. But, just like every other game we've had, our kids are excited for the opportunity. And, we're excited for, the matchup, and look forward to being able to kick off at 12 o'clock here in Dowdy Ficklen Stadium.
Hey, coaches, maybe not a fun question to ask, or it could get tricky, but with Thanksgiving in particular and gatherings and kind of what's going on with this week, CDC and whatnot, I mean, most weeks or seasons, I imagine you would let local players go home to their family or have a meal if they wanted to. I mean, will you allow that, for a better word, or will you kind of bubble it this week? How will you handle guys maybe going off campus or seeing families at all?
What we've talked about is, we're going to have practice Thursday morning. We're going to have a COVID protocol appropriate Thanksgiving lunch together as a team. And it's the way we've been having to eat for, the past, several months with the spacing, masks, and just all the protocols in place with serving. We're going to do that together as a team. We're going to give them a to-go dinner to take with them. And what I've asked of them is just, listen, guys, you got one more week as far as protecting each other. Just let's just be conscientious of staying within our bubble. I think that, they just got to be smart in that if they do anything with a family here in the local area, that they are very conscientious about protecting themselves because they're protecting their teammates. We will have testing next week to make sure that we come out of the weekend clean before we release the student athletes to go home back to their homes for Christmas break. But we still got to finish strong with everything on the field and off the field.
Coach, can you talk about the pros and cons of not scheduling another game while, a lot of the conference will be playing into December, but obviously this will be your final game?
Right. It's something that we had looked at for a while. And I'll tell you, it got really tricky here in the past month, just from a standpoint of, you saw, I don't know what the number is, but, probably close to 24 games postponed or canceled last weekend. I think you're going to see a similar number this weekend. I was really shaky with these next two games a few weeks back. Were we going to be able to play the Temple game and the SMU game? It looks like we were going to get both of them in, but it was touch and go. And so there was hesitation from that standpoint of scheduling another opponent. There's also some financial implications. Dorms and dining halls close on Sunday. You talk about housing and feeding a team for 200 people for another week. Obviously that's a significant financial piece. There's other pieces in place or other factors in place that I'd be glad to discuss postseason that internally we're aware of that maybe everybody in the surroundings are not. We just felt like, all things considered, we needed to make sure we finished the season that we had on paper and keep our focus right there. There are pluses to playing an additional game, but we've been fortunate to be able to play the schedule we have, because if you'd have asked me back in August and September if we would have played 9 games this fall, I would have told you there's no way. I thought we were going to play 4 or 5 at best.
When you look at wrapping up this season, maybe long term, how do you think this season will be remembered? It's obviously been a crazy one, but did it bring the team closer together, just culture wise, or was it just an accomplishment getting through it? Or what are the things you maybe will take away from a year like this?
You could probably say all of it. It's none of us have ever been through anything like this, and I do think the one, cautiously say, wise thing that the NCAA did was giving everyone an extra year of eligibility. I think that's wise from the standpoint of none of the players were prepared for this season. You look at why certain things are happening. I think this is something to really discuss, publicly a little bit, after the season's over with. Not having spring practice and summer training, you cannot grasp the impact that had on our young players, the negative impact that they had on our young players. So they were not prepared for a college football season the way they should be, especially to play a 12-game schedule. On the other hand, I am thankful for the games that we have gotten to play, because without getting spring practice, CJ Johnson has never had a spring practice. You guys would say he's a pretty veteran player. He's never had a spring practice. The vast majority of our team has never had an off season. That is something that's so critical to the development of this program as we build it. So I'm thankful for the games we've had this fall, because we've been able to, get more out of this than you would have a spring practice. You've been able to get so much experience for guys. You've been able to see what a lot of guys can do, what some can't do. You saw some position changes. You're going to see some more because of things that happen on the field this fall. And the great thing is, I think you have been able to bring the group together culturally, cohesively, and you see that from, the videos you've seen from inside our locker room, or if you've been able to be at practice every day. This team does practice. They practice full speed. They practice with some physicality. There's not they don't loaf around the practice field. We've got some positive habits in place. So there's so much positive coming out of playing this fall. And, we've shown, closing the gap competitively with other teams in our conference and winning multiple conference games. You know, are you going to look back and say, you should have gotten Navy, or you got Tulsa and didn't get it? Yeah, you can say all that stuff, but we got to play those games. And so there's been so much good and bad. It is a special season. It is unlike any other that I've ever had. I hope I never have one like this again. We're going to take a team photo on Saturday or on Sunday, because I do think that this group, there's something to be said about the perseverance that it took to make it through 2020 in a pandemic. So how's it going to be remembered? It's going to be remembered for a lot of different things.
Coach, Buechele going for nearly 2,800 yards, and Bentley good for almost 900 on the ground. How do you approach this game defensively against SMU?
We got our hands full. You got one of the top rushers in the conference in the tailback, and then Buechele. He's had a great career there at SMU. Is he going to be back next year or not? I don't know. If I had to bet, I'd say probably not. He's probably going to go ahead and turn pro. But obviously, he's one of the top quarterbacks in our league, and has had an outstanding year. Coach Dykes and his staff, they do a great job offensively there. Scheme-wise, they do a lot of the same things they did last year, and I think they've evolved also. So I think we got our hands full on Saturday.
Coach, when you look back at last year's final game, I know the Tulsa game didn't go how you wanted it. How important is it just to maybe go out and play the way you guys you're capable of playing to take some momentum into the offseason?
Well, that was my message to the team on Sunday, and I think that they, there's no doubt that they feel the exact same way. You want to finish the season strong. You want to see us put together the complete ball game. I think we've done that a little bit against South Florida. A little bit against Tulsa. Certainly, there were some strong phases against Navy. There were some strong phases against Temple. But as far as everything clicking in all three phases, we haven't. I don't think we've done that this year, and so that's a big thing I talked to them about on Sunday. I promise you, they want to. And my message, here in a few minutes when we talk to them, is going to be, let's have those kind of practices we talked about on Sunday. We got to have that kind of Tuesday practice today. Everybody trying to sync on the same page. That's going to take a lot of focus. It's going to take a lot of effort. But I do think we have positive momentum coming out of, being able to pull one off up in Philadelphia when, whether we were going to play or not was really in question. And so I think that positive momentum we can use to build on this week, and hopefully we can see that kind of performance on Saturday.
What was that moment like with Elijah and being able to give him that news after a win?
I've been waiting on the right moment. And like I told him, I spoke to his father about a month ago because that kid's he's earned the right to be on scholarship here at East Carolina. And, he bet on himself. He had multiple scholarship opportunities at lower divisions. He came to our camp twice, summer before last, came here and walked on, was given nothing, earned everything. And I wanted it to be the right moment. And I just thought, he had the big turnover early in the ball game that, another example of him being in the right place at the right time. He had a very solid performance on Saturday. And just, I wanted it to be exactly what it turned out to be because, he has the traits and the things about him as a person, being able to coach him. He is what you enjoy about coaching. He's a kid that's going to maximize his God-given ability. He's going to be a great teammate. He's going to be a great leader. He's got that toughness, plays hard, all those traits that you're building the program on. And so to be able to celebrate that after a win with his teammates, and for them to see that because they watch him every day. They see what he puts into his preparation each day, and they see that he's earned it. And so to have them, be able to celebrate there with him on Saturday is it's a special moment that he'll never forget. It's a special moment I'll never forget, and I'm sure the rest of his family, just a special moment for them.
And when you look at Tyler Snead, he's leading the team in receptions and receiving yards heading into this last game. And maybe not a lot of people would have predicted that, I guess, with the talent you have at receiver. I mean, does that just speak to his consistency and how he's kind of shown up, seems like each week, and kind of gotten better as the season has progressed?
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, you look at his performance last year against SMU, and then you watch him right now. I mean, I do think he's a significantly improved player. He's bigger, faster, stronger, and he's that competitive nature that he has. And he's had a great year on offense. I look forward to hopefully having another great game on Saturday. But he's had a great game in the return game, punt return and kickoff return this year as well. And he's just a guy that you always know what you're going to get. Very similar to Elijah Morrison in the character traits. He's always going to maximize his ability. He's going to play with toughness and edge. He's going to compete every day. He's going to do things right off the field. He's going to be a great leader. The more guys you can get like that and playing like that, then the better your program's going to be. So, are you surprised? Yes. Are you not surprised? Yes. I mean, I think that he's a guy that you can never count out.
Coach, it seems like every week we're seeing more freshmen play. Stribling and Deonte Johnson this past weekend. Can you just talk about their play, kind of how they progressed this season?
Yeah, I was really proud of Walt. He's played a little bit throughout the year this year, but not much. Has really improved drastically since he got here back in January. He's going to be a really good player for us. I thought he held his own well on Saturday because I was a little concerned because of the matchups with the defensive ends at Temple and number 12 and Boozer both. Those guys are great players. I know 17 did not play, but matchup wise for a young tackle, that was going to be tough. And I thought he held his own. Maybe one or two plays where he got beat, but not many. And to play against those caliber of players in this league, that at that level, I thought that was a pretty impressive first time out. And we talked about it Friday night. Just I remember my first college start. He'll always remember his first college start, and he was prepared for the moment and played well. Deonte Johnson, another young guy that has really come on throughout the fall. You earn those reps, and it started about a month ago from his performance on the scout team defense, and continuing to show over there. So we started getting him reps with the first group, the second group, and he continued to develop there and earn those reps. And it was exciting to see him get in the ball game, have a couple of tackles, had a tackle for a loss. Just really excited for him. Just like with all the rest of that group, that's going to be a really a foundational group for this program for years to come, because of the ability of the group, but also the number of the group.
Coach, to get a good game this weekend, play the kind of game that you're capable of playing, will do a lot to sustain this ball club through the off season and coming into the next year's conference season. Talk about that and how important it is just to play like you're capable of playing this week.
Well, I just think we want positive momentum going into the off season. I think that would be the perfect way to end it. Now it's not going to be easy. Now people need to understand we're facing an extremely challenging opponent. So we'll have to play our best game of the year to have a shot to win it, but we're capable of it. And so it's something that we all want, but nobody's going to give us anything. It's we've talked about that all year long. No matter how much you want to, get that win here, get that win there, nobody's going to give you anything. And sometimes you got to beat them, 3 or 4 times to get the win. So it's going to be challenging, but it's going to be something that we're work very hard this week in order to earn.
Okay, is there anything else?
Okay, just any other questions from anybody? Do want to just one kind of bonus this week. Did want to announce that Deonte Smith has accepted an invitation for the Reese's Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. Just like everything else, it's going to be it's going to be a different year for it. It's going to be played on January the 30th, 2021. Deonte, has had a great career here at East Carolina. I hate that he got robbed of his senior year. Certainly it hurt us on the field, not having a player of that ability out there every weekend, but also, it robbed him of that opportunity as well. But he's made the decision that he is ready to, move on with what's next in his career. And so accepting an invitation to the Senior Bowl will give him a great opportunity to be able to perform one last time for the Pro Scouts ahead of the 2021 draft. So we're excited for this opportunity for Deonte.